So we're still not done fighting with the drive shaft. Well, she's idling. So, water pump impeller is trash, and the seals don't look bad. There's another seal down in there, and I don't think it was supposed to come apart like this. I think this here was supposed to stay with the lower unit, and that rod that goes way up to the motor was supposed to come out. So I'm going to have to do some Googling and figure out why that didn't come out along with the rest of it. So this is the drive shaft on the Evinrude, and we're going to measure it. So on the outside here, main part of the shaft, we've got 0.62. That's probably equivalent to 5/8. And down here on the spline, same thing. And then in here, we've got 0.51 down in the little recess. So got the motor on its top on a piece of foam, and we're gonna use some blocking and this puller block that I've made up. It's gonna go down over like that and tighten up, probably with some space there so I can get a pry bar in there between the wood block and the puller. So we got it all tightened down, and if the wood doesn't give us enough traction on that shaft, what we'll do is put some sandpaper in this gap right here. So let's grab the pry bar, stick it in here. Might have to put the camera down and do it from 2 angles. Okay, well, I'm going to have to put the camera down. So, having previous attempts fail, I am double clamping the shaft, which is pretty much the entire length that I can clamp to. And we've got an arrangement under here where we will back the nuts off of those bolts, which will force the 2 pieces of wood apart, hopefully pulling apart the shaft. or pulling out the shaft out of the power head. We've stepped things up again. Instead of 2 bolts pushing in the bottom, 2 3/8 bolts, now we got 3 1/2-inch bolts. And I think I can see that little score line moving. We're making progress, and we have sandpapered and crazy glued the puller blocks to the shaft, and we've gained about that much, about a 1/2 inch, maybe a little more. That black mark right here, this black mark here, was all the way down against the wood as close as I could draw it with a Sharpie, so it keeps popping and jumping. These are hot from turning them. A lot of friction. I did oil them. So she's loose. And there's the end that was stuck. Oi, oi, oi. What a project. I'm going to clean that up nice and oil it and grease it. Make sure it goes in and out easily, and then take it apart once a year or so. So here's sort of a cutaway view of my Russian birch plywood drive shaft puller. And in a previous video I showed how I was jacking the 2 plates apart with these screws, 1/2-inch bolts actually. That worked real good. So what we have here is emery cloth super glued into the wood and onto the shaft. I'm going to have a little bit of work getting that emery cloth off the shaft, but some acetone should do the trick. That'll dissolve super glue. This one here I still have to take off. What a mess. But we're winning. There's the end that was fighting us all the way. Another thing I forgot to mention here is that I made this little split ring just out of some wire, bent it in a circle and clamped it on there in that groove. And that also went in a groove. Well, I didn't make a groove in the wood, it just got pressed into the wood by that ring. I'm sure that helped us too, in addition to the crazy glue and the sandpaper. And this is like stuck. A little bit of emery cloth there, which is what we wanted. We wanted it to pull that out of there. I had some more stuck down here, but it didn't stick quite as hard. There is some stuck. Got a little cleanup to do there. Whew. Yep, surrender is not in my vocabulary. I only surrender to Jesus. Just for the record, this is how we're putting the water pump together. It's Dawn dish soap in there. So the pump pulls water from the right side and pushes it out the left, which is reversed because we're holding it upside down. It goes this way. See, there's the inlet. And then you can see how it's notched out there on the left side, which is the right side when we're facing it from this direction. Looks like the water tubes are properly engaged. We're still not done fighting with the drive shaft. That was protruding too far. So I then drove it up in a little. Making quite a mess. I think it's pumping water. That's wide open. Just ready on board, and when I open it up, it'll do 25. So here goes.